Real video games are played out. Who wants fantasy and sci-fi anymore when you could be simulating mundane, real-life tasks in a virtual world? Before we get into this video, be sure to subscribe to TheGamer and ring that bell to stay up to date with all things gaming. Without further ado, here are simulator games that are nothing like real life. Robot Vacuum Simulator 2013. This has been touted as the most realistic robot vacuum simulator ever. It's a bold claim from a game whose robot vacuum isn't entirely representative of real-life robot vacuums. It's a little too round to be a Roomba and a bit too shiny to be one of the many Roomba knockoffs. Nevertheless, they're probably safe in their exclamations of greatness, as there probably isn't a thriving robot vacuum simulator genre when it comes to video games. When there isn't any competition, it's easy to rise to the top. For the most part, this looks like one of those standard simulator games. The graphics are clunky and the environment is uninspired and blocky. Someone clearly had an idea, and whether or not it was a good idea is irrelevant. This game is here now, and it's playable. No one bothered to stop and ask if they should create a robot vacuum simulator game, but the answer would have been no. Simply put, this game should have never been created. So, what's the deal with this game? You play as a robot vacuum and cruise around a house. Apparently there's a two-player function, but why bother? We're more than certain that rolling around a pixelated apartment by your lonesome is all the fun you'll ever need. As far as simulators go, this is probably one of the more realistic examples on this list. Does not bode well. Surgeon Simulator 2013. Surgery is a delicate process. Obviously, performing surgery incorrectly could easily cost someone their life or a major organ, depending on the incompetence of the doctor in charge, which is never a position any doctor wants to be in. That being said, the serious nature of surgery is completely tossed out the window with this game. If a doctor were to perform surgery in real life as they're encouraged to do in this game, they would probably no longer be allowed to practice medicine. In fact, they may even face jail time due to the sheer negligence of their work. It appears as though even the most skilled gamer will have a difficult time navigating these surgeries with their patient intact. The controls in this game make it appear as though the doctor is intoxicated. Whether or not this is due to the difficulty of the controls is up for debate, but it definitely plays a part. The developers may have found it humorous to raise the difficulty on the controls and, in turn, make the game more difficult. Perhaps the game is meant to be taken seriously and illustrate just how difficult it is to perform surgery. Luckily, this is a video game, so in the end, there's no harm done, except to the patient. Lordy, is there a lot of harm done to him. Professional Lumberjack 2015. While thinking of lumberjacks, most people will instantly think of a tall, burly man clothed in flannel with a ZZ Top-style beard. It might be a somewhat correct assumption of what a lumberjack is like because, you know, all stereotypes have to start somewhere. One could assume they also chop down trees with an axe. Maybe he's a more modern lumberjack and uses a chainsaw. It's a possibility. Again, it would probably be another safe assumption since it's generally what lumberjacks do. Unfortunately for players, this game does not cover lumberjacks in the traditional guy on the bounty paper towels package way. Realistically, there probably aren't too many manual lumberjacks these days anyway, so maybe this game is more realistic than we originally thought. Nowadays, deep in the forests, the act of lumberjacking has been outsourced to machines, just like most jobs in America. There are no longer humans making cars in Detroit, and there are no more human lumberjacks cutting down trees in Oregon, or so we assume since it's something a lot of people tend to complain about. Anyway, this game is more about using large machinery to chop down trees. Bear Simulator. Occasionally, people wonder what it would be like if they were a different kind of animal instead of a human being. It's a luxury afforded to those species who are capable of complex thought, and it's often a fun activity to pass the time. Out of all the species a person could pretend to be, a bear is probably one of the better choices. For the most part, this game does attempt to show what it would be like if the player were a bear. Unfortunately, most bears do not wander around with their front paws outstretched in front of them like a monster movie zombie. Maybe Russian bears. However, this is probably how the developers made sure to let the gamers know that they are indeed role-playing as a bear with minimal effort to put into the graphics. It just goes to show how much care they put into their precious game. As a bear, players can wander around a grassy location which looks like it may be a part of a forest. Players can attempt to steal honey or chase down a variety of animals, presumably to eat, since bears cannot live solely on honey. The pigs, for some reason, appear to be purple, which is confusing and infuriating. All the pigs must have a blood circulation problem or something because it's just weird. Apparently, there are secrets which the bear can uncover. Some of these secrets are good, and others are probably hunters. VISCERA cleanup detail. Nobody wants to be a janitor. Not even janitors want to be janitors. Not just because the job can be messy and gross and disgusting and overall horrifying, but because it's a thankless job. Everyone wants to make the messes, but no one wants to clean them, which includes the people cleaning said messes, because none of the people making the messes ever say a simple thank you. Again, it's a thankless job made worse by the fact that it also includes a lot of disgusting messes. I should know. I've got a confession to make. I'm a janitor by day. Oh, it stings to say it out loud. So, this is VISCERA cleanup detail. If you've ever been watching a sci-fi movie or a horror movie, and while you're watching the unfolding gore unravel on screen as it tends to do, and you're the type of person who wondered who would clean up the mess once the living victims were rescued, well, you're probably a janitor. More importantly, you're probably the type of person this game was created for. Here's the answer to your burning question. You can be the person to take on this thankless job of mopping up blood and viscera and, oh hey, that's the name of the game, I get it now, on a spaceship somewhere out in space after the battle went down. It's way more interesting than your janitorial job. The only invite you're getting to this party is the cleanup invite, meaning you get none of the fun and all of the mess. Rock Simulator. This is not a game about learning to mash buttons on a plastic guitar in order to complete songs which are otherwise culturally irrelevant. It's also not a game about forcing your friends into a band, again using plastic instruments, while you live out your high school fantasy of being a rock star while again playing songs which are otherwise no longer popular. Fun fact, it's about how the game developers get licenses to those songs. It's because no one else wants them. Probably. Let's pretend for a minute that you've been so angry that you wished you didn't exist. No, you don't wish to be dead. You just want to stop dealing with everything for maybe 20 minutes so you can come back refreshed and stop crying over your keyboard at work for once because you doubt you'll ever get that promotion or a raise. Kind of like a nap, but better and just as temporary. Also, probably infinitely more depressing. Basically, why not become a rock? Like a literal, actual rock. In real life, rocks just sit around, completely unaware of their surroundings. They're at the mercy of anyone who decides to kick them or skip them across a shallow lake. Rocks don't care, though. They have zero cares. They're just rocks, unfeeling rocks in a world without pain. Unfortunately, this game is unrealistic in the worst way possible. The rock moves around and does things. Commence hating your life because you'll never experience the thrill of existing as a rock. Goat Simulator MMO. The first iteration of Goat Simulator was unrealistic. Sure, goats headbutt a lot of things. It's how they say hello. It's how they say feed me. It's how they say get the heck out of my pasture, I'm freaking eating grass here, you tool. It's just what goats do. Now, we assume that the creators of this game are unaware of the nature of goats. They probably don't own any goats. In fact, they probably only saw a goat one time at a petting zoo, and everyone who knows goats know that those goats are usually the cute, well-behaved goats. Anyone who actually knows about these animals knows that goats totes love to eat everything. Everything. Goats would eat themselves alive if they were given the chance and had the brains to figure out that they're pretty tasty if they're slathered in a curry. So those are the first set of problems with the first Goat Simulator, even though they pretty much nailed how a goat would ride a bike if a goat attempted to ride one. This iteration of Goat Simulator is different. It's an MMO. For those of you who somehow don't know what it stands for, an MMO is a massively multiplayer online game. Typically, these are sci-fi games with aliens, or fantasy games with wizards and hobgoblins for people who enjoy role-playing. You know who doesn't have the mental capacity to play an MMO? Goats! The defense rests. Home improvisation. Nobody wants to make improvements around their house. Sure, they want the tasks completed, but no one actually wants to do them. They just want them done with minimal effort. This isn't a game about home improvement. There's no Tim Allen here. This game should be called Home Homicide. Why? Well, because it's not a fun building game, it's a put your cheap IKEA furniture together game. No one wants to do it in real life, therefore no one wants to do it in fake life either. I've got another confession to make. I actually enjoy putting IKEA furniture together. It's kind of relaxing. What? Don't look at me like that. Either way, this is the worst puzzle game ever created. There's nothing in this simulation beyond building. You don't wake up and look at your half-decorated shanty house and think to yourself, I need real furniture. I'm an adult now. Typically, it would propel said character to do something about their pathetic waste of a life. They'd get dressed, drive across town, have a spark of hope that their life isn't a complete wreck as they did something grown up for once. They would enter the nearest IKEA and make a choice. It would not be a huge life-changing choice, unless we're talking about a Kulen. Anything's an improvement over the Herdal. I'd take an Emnus or a Trisil over a Herdal. It would, however, give them some much-needed confidence. This game gets straight to the building without any of the fun. This game also doesn't include free meatballs, so the developers should really rethink their life choices. Job Simulator. Imagine a world with no jobs. Robots have taken over the job market, and there's no need for humans to get up every morning and head to a thankless job where they can continue to hate their lives. Humans have entirely forgotten what it's like to have a job. We can all dream, right? So what do humans do instead of work? They play VR simulation games which remind them what it was like to have a job, apparently. This game must take place far, far into the future, because we're pretty sure no one has forgotten what work is like recently. Not anyone who has bills to pay anyway. So the whole purpose of this game is to remind humans of what it was like to work in some sort of capacity. Riveting! Look, anyone giving this game a positive review clearly needs help. No one wants to work. Nearly everyone has to work. No one wants to work for free. If someone is working for free, they've obviously been duped. Oh, or they're an intern of some sort. Paying their dues. Getting paid in exposure because it's totally a new cryptocurrency. Anyway, this game is clearly some sort of mind control device built by futuristic robots to enslave the human race as office workers or 7-Eleven cashiers. No one gets off work from their 9-to-5 office job and decides to go home to pretend to do more work for free. Or at least we seriously hope not. So, have you played any simulation games? Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can keep up with all the fresh content from The Gamer. Thanks for watching.